Today's video is a little bit different from the other ones because it's a sit-down video, not a vlog. I haven't done that in many years. I wanted to kind of touch upon and talk about getting an internship in the entertainment industry because I know it's very hard. When I was in school, I was always trying to find information online as someone with no connections or prior experiences, how I can land internships in the media industry, especially at these larger entertainment companies. So hopefully I can share my experiences for those of you guys who are trying to do so and give some of my tips. So just a little bit about me. I graduated in 2022 from UCLA, and during that time I pursued many different internships, which ultimately led me to land internships at NBC with Jimmy Fallon and also at 20th Television with Disney. I have this broken down into like resume, cover letter, interviews, and just like general tips. I can begin with my story. So I started off wanting to do marketing because I was an econ major and a film minor. It's a great combination. Marketing, you can create videos, you can create graphics. You have the creative side, but also the business side of things with numbers and trying to grow a platform. My first internship as a freshman, and it's very key because as a freshman, you have no experience. So you can't expect to land internships at like Disney and like NBC. I think for me, I definitely applied to those. Of course, I didn't get any because I had no experience. So I started off at Soundpeer, which is a sound recording company, and they sold guitars, drums. It was an unpaid marketing internship. I got some experience under my belt, but I knew that kind of industry is not where I wanted to be. After that, the next summer, I actually got my next internship through this site called Ripple Match. So I think what it is, you would input your information, your resume, and they would match you up with companies they think are a great fit for you. And if you are a great fit, they basically pair you up for an interview. I used that platform, not really expecting to get anything, but they paired me up and emailed me that said, I have an interview with Pfizer. At that point, the pandemic was not a thing. I actually did not know what Pfizer was. So I was like, you know what, let me just do it. I don't have any offers. I tried again to apply for many of the big entertainment companies and no response. And this was for a video and communications role. I accepted the job, and this is when COVID hit. So I was working at home. I didn't think I was challenging myself enough entertainment wise, so I decided to do a double internship. I took an internship and unpaid at Indigenous Media. They do like documentary series squeezed down to 60 seconds. So I was a part of the marketing team there, and I got to learn about like copywriting, and it was like more in tune with what I wanted to do. I continued to interview and then landed a position at Live Nation. It was for diversity and inclusion. I'm very passionate about kind of promoting people of color and those stories and minority stories. So I was super excited to start that position, and the day before I was supposed to start, I got my computer and everything. They said sadly they had to furlough a lot of their employees due to COVID, and that position was canceled. But I got to keep the laptop, which is amazing. That led me to 3 months of just searching and searching and searching. I could not land anything. I was applying to all the entertainment companies, and at that point I was very lost because I thought, wow, I had a lot of experience. Can I really not land an internship in the entertainment industry like I've always wanted? So during that time I was still searching for unpaid internships. I did one at a fashion company. I don't even know the name anymore. It was horrible. The person didn't even care about us. So my junior year I took a gap year because I did not want to do remote college. I was supposed to graduate in 3 years, but I decided to do a gap year and then graduate on time just so I can have more time with my friends. So that gap year was very important. For that 3 months I couldn't find an internship, so I felt very bad because I felt like I was wasting my time. So I really needed money. I got an internship at Ranker, which is a company that they rank. It's like a voting site, and my job was to kind of clean up their sites and put in the content. So like they were looking for people who love anime, who love K-drama, who love movies, actors. So it was a really fun internship. I got paid, it was $16 an hour. Pfizer, I got paid, actually don't remember, I think it was around 15. It was not that much. I did that for around 3 months. I again, for the next round, I applied for many different roles. This time got more interviews. I revamped my resume, revamped my cover letter, talked to many different people on LinkedIn to get advice, and I was able to land an internship at Jimmy Fallon. I was the social media and also floater intern, so I was able to kind of do production and help out on the side remotely. Along with that, I had applied to a lot of Fox internships in the past. I got a final interview like months after I applied. I already started my Jimmy Fallon internship, did the interview. So it was with Fox Business Network. It's like a learning program. My sole focus was on the NBC internship. Fox one, tried to do my best with the time I had. I did that for a few months. For my next internship, I tried out for Disney and finally actually landed 2 Disney roles and ultimately ended up picking the 20th Television for a development role because I wanted to be more in tune with the creative aspects. At that point, I knew I didn't want to do marketing anymore. So that was kind of my journey. Let me go into more of how I landed them, my resume, what I changed, and interview tips that really helped me. So maybe you can also land one too. And I kind of want to give tips that is not like super obvious. And all the videos I've seen are like tips that are obvious. So I think these are like extra things you can add to whatever you are already doing, and hopefully that can really enhance your application. First thing is the resume. For me, I know some people do like artistic resumes for maybe like more graphic design jobs or entertainment. You don't really need that. At least I didn't. I had a very simple layout. I used the UCLA template. So if you are a freshman or someone without experience, for me, what I did to fill out my resume to one full page is list my club organizations and a lot of volunteering experiences and also leadership. Maybe some things I've done in high school and some things I've done in college. I listed Association of Chinese Americans. I was the historian for it, so I took pictures, kind of showing off my camera skills, I guess, and editing material. That was really good for marketing. And then also I was in Chinese American Culture Night, which is like an annual play, so a lot of leadership. So leadership experience is very important to note. So don't be afraid if you have no experience. Like I started off with no experience. I put that I was a dim sum hostess. I put my high school clubs, just anything to fill up your resume that can showcase your abilities, your leadership, and also maybe some hard skills like editing. Other than that, I use action verbs and not like verbs like did or made. You need words like spearheaded, curated, led, or coordinated, like those higher level action verbs. So I think searching a list of them and then seeing how you can make them into your resume, that's just more impressive overall. Also, use up the whole line and use up all the space you can. To do that, make sure you have statistics. So you need numbers. If you're doing social media, instead of saying manage Twitter account for this company, talk about how many followers they have, how many posts you did, how many likes or engagement you received because you were doing that. How to make you stand out, you want to be specific. If you say, oh, I created a post, to make that better, you can say I created posts for Instagram that garnered this many views, impacted the company this way. Showcase your skills. I made videos through Adobe Premiere Pro utilizing these tools and these methods. Having those action verbs and more detailed descriptions within your bullet points can make you stand out. Additionally, on the skills section, what I did is I just listed everything that they needed on the role. So if they needed a Final Cut Pro, I will have Final Cut Pro on there. And over the years, I just created kind of this list I put on every single one of my resumes. So there's Microsoft Office, and in parentheses I'll say Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and then Adobe Creative Cloud, Premiere, Lightroom, all of that. Make sure you read their descriptions and see kind of the softwares or the technical skills you might need and add that to your skills section. For me, I kind of do it as heading, education, experience, and then I have my leadership experience, and then skills at the bottom and languages. You don't have to do it this way. That's something that worked for me. So I think some of those tips might help you with the resume. The cover letter is kind of like people, you don't need it, but I would say always add one. I have spoken to an HBO recruiter and she did admit that a lot of times cover letters aren't read, but just having one included, it can seem like you care about the position, and sometimes they do read it. Some companies do read cover letters, depends on the recruiter. If you are competing against another candidate and they really need the cover letter to distinguish between you two, then yes, that can help you. It always helps you rather than hurt you. Just add one always. I used to kind of restate things I did in my resume, so like, oh, I did this and this internship, I did that. They don't even know that. You already said that in your resume. So in your cover letter, talk about your passion. Talk about why you want this role or how you came to this role and what you hope to learn. So how I structure mine is in the beginning, I would say, I'm Marianne and I'm interested in this role because this company holds these values that I really resonate with. I love watching these shows from this company, which is why I'm applying for the role. So like very brief introduction in the beginning, why you love it, why you love your company, why you want this position. And in the body paragraph, I will write about my experiences. Instead of repeating what I said in my resumes, I would be more specific and list some of the projects I did. I am very passionate about storytelling. I'm very passionate about exploring the stories from minority perspectives. I added a section at the end about Chinese American Culture Night where I talked about how I spearheaded this project. I led a group of students and we created our own story about Asian American representation. And at the end, it's like a very quick thank you. And yeah, so that's how you want to word it. At least that's how I worded it and it's worked really well for me. So I think the main takeaway is just be more of a human in your cover letter. Don't repeat your resume. Expand on it and talk about specific projects, specific moments, specific experiences that really enhance your interest and where you want to be. Okay, before going on to the next section about interviews, I want to quickly touch upon like referrals. I think it's a really big misconception that people think you need referrals to get these internship positions and you need a connection. You totally don't. I had 0 referrals or connections that landed me these roles, and sometimes even when I did, it did nothing. So all of these roles I cold applied. I'm not saying it won't help you if you have one, but don't put too much effort into trying to get a referral. you want to apply as soon as possible. When these roles come out, apply within the first 3 days. First week is fine if you didn't see it, but just apply as fast as possible. What I've seen is sometimes jobs on LinkedIn are posted like 3 weeks ago and they're already on the interview process and I just applied. How you can do this is follow their Instagram accounts, follow the recruiters from the company, and they will post when they are hiring. Sign up for their job alerts, and if I see one, I will apply that day. So do that, it will really help you. Now is the interview section, and if you pass all of the application shenanigans and you land the interview, you should be very proud of yourself. It's very exciting to get an interview. I'll say if you don't receive interviews, don't be dejected. That's because a lot of these positions, especially at the larger companies, they take juniors and seniors mostly. So if you're a sophomore, for me, I was a sophomore, really wanted to get a role, I could never get it. I'm not saying you can't do that. I've seen some people who were sophomores get roles like this, but usually it's for juniors and seniors. Especially for Disney, they only take like seniors. I've never seen a junior Disney. I'm sure there are, but something that really helped me, and I think why I wasn't passing the interview rounds before, is I didn't really have a story. I wasn't really talking in a way about my interests. I was talking in a way that talked about my experiences. So I would talk about, oh, I did this at this, but didn't say why I wanted to or why I loved it. So I changed my strategy. I started talking about my passions, and that made such a tremendous difference. I got so many rounds of interviews after I did that. So I would talk about how I came to be. I talked about how I love watching YouTube as a kid. I love watching Asian creators on YouTube and never thought they were never on the big screen, and I wanted to make that change. I want to help promote minority diverse voices on the screen, and I think that made me seem more human. That's a really big part of your passions, why you want to, especially when they say introduce yourself. Another thing I did was have a list of potential questions. Usually for these roles, it's very behavioral. It's not like they're gonna give you a test. It's very similar questions each time. They will ask like, introduce yourself. Why do you want to work here? What do you know about this company? One thing that they will always ask, and you should always know, is what are you watching these days? So TV shows, maybe even books, movies. What do you like? What are you watching? And have a good way of expressing yourself and saying that. Second is kind of knowing their shows. For the Jimmy Fallon interview, what I did was research about Jimmy Fallon. I had never watched Jimmy Fallon other than maybe some clips about BTS or something, or like celebrity clips on YouTube. So I actually did not know much about it. So what I did was watch like a whole episode of Jimmy Fallon. I went to Wikipedia and searched up all of their content and like what they do, and that's where I learned about like their segments. So Jimmy Fallon likes to do something called thank you notes. I talked about that on my interview. So be very specific so they know you're a big fan of their show. Relate your passion to why this position is great for you. So I talked about how he would invite guests from movies and Asian American creators like John Chu, to invite John Chu onto his show. I think that's a great way to bring awareness. So I talked about that, and they were really impressed and thought that kind of motivation me and interest in the show would be a great fit. For Disney, I actually went final round that same year, did not make it. I think because I was not connecting with the top leader, our conversation was just a little bit awkward. So be able to hold up a conversation, small talk, kind of practice that. I guess I can talk about my 20th interview. It's kind of like the same thing. They were really interested in my Pfizer experience, which is astounding. No one has brought that up before. I talked a lot about how I help videos there, how video can be such an amazing tool or media outlet for helping spread awareness, like the COVID vaccine. So yeah, kind of see where they're going with the interview. Really sell yourself. Don't be afraid to kind of brag a little bit, but don't be snobbish about it. I think just having a very authentic personality is really good. Kind of getting into this rhythm is what allowed me to kind of do all my interviews going forward. So be authentic, talk about your passions, and research a lot about the company and show. You should be good. So that's about most of the tips kind of in these categories. If you guys want to hear more about them, like just you can feel free to leave a comment, I can answer. But I hope that this video has been really helpful for you. This industry is super hard to get into, so don't be discouraged when you get rejections. Someone like me who have landed internships in NBC and Disney, I got before that probably over 500 rejections before landing these roles, and even after landing them, you're still gonna get rejections. So putting that past, just keep on going, keep on improving. With each step of the way, you will get closer to your goal, and reach out. If you're stuck, reach out to other people, see what kind of advice they have. But I hope that this video helped you in some bit. Again, my experience may not be your experience, and may not be other people's experience, so take it with a grain of salt, but I do hope that this video helped, and I'll see you in the next video.